Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good morning, students. How do we feel about the last week of school? All right. That's how my girls feel, too. I'm Mayor Ben Walsh, and I'm thrilled to be here this morning, joined by a number of special guests. Of course, we have our great Lieutenant Governor, Kathy Hochul, here. Thank you, Kathy, for coming. All right. We have our Common Council President, Helen Hudson, here. Helen, thank you for coming. We have some of our other counselors here. We have Counselor Mike Green, Counselor Susan Boyle, Counselor Joe Driscoll also joining us. Welcome, counselors. We have Peggy Chase from the Onondaga County Legislature. We also have Megan Root here from the Syracuse Teachers Association, Lipa Jones from Mothers Against Gun Violence, Rita Fredette, also from Mothers Against Gun Violence. We have a number of representatives here from Moms Demand Action, including Tanya Dugan, Tracy Massa, Marie Kulikowski, and of course we have our good friend Cliff Ryan here from OGs Against Gun Violence. So welcome, everybody. Last but not least, I want to acknowledge the school district, our great superintendent Jaime Elisea here, our principal at Nottingham, and all the students and faculty at Nottingham for welcoming us here today. It's a little windy, but I think we welcome this wind on this warm day. So today you'll hear from myself, Nottingham Junior Anna Kreidler-Swinski, Lieutenant Governor Hochul, who I mentioned, Superintendent, and finally Megan Root from the STA. We're here to talk about new legislation to protect our students and our teachers. As we all know too well, our nation has endured too many acts of gun violence. In our own community, a possible mass shooting was prevented several months ago thanks to the persistence and cooperation of many players, including a gun store owner, an employee at an apartment complex, a friend of a troubled former Syracuse University student, and the Syracuse Police Department, in addition to our state and federal officials. It showed that when we all work together and we have the tools that we need, we can stop these acts of violence. Now, Governor Cuomo himself said parents should not have to fear sending their children to school every day, and teachers should not have to wonder if they will return home from work. As a parent of two daughters, I could not agree more. And as a son of a mother who worked in the city school district herself, again, I could not agree more. We need to make sure our kids feel safe. And the legislation the Lieutenant Governor is here to talk about today is common sense legislation that will make us safer. So with that, it is my absolute pleasure to introduce Anna here, Anna Kreidler-Swinski, a junior at Nottingham. She's a member of the swim team and the National Honor Society and has been an active advocate in our community for stricter gun laws. Anna.
I am Anna Kreidler-Swinski, and I am just finishing up my junior year here at Nottingham High School. I am interested and active in the community, and I'm a part of Syracuse Students for Change, which is a student-led organization against gun violence. Today here, we would like to recognize that there have been many advocates before our time who have worked tirelessly to create safe communities with stronger gun control laws. These people did what was right before it got to the attention of mass media and the nation. However, since mass shootings at the high school in Parkland, Florida, more teenagers have begun to open their eyes to the problems our nation has to deal with daily. I know that mass shootings are the ones that motivated me to speak up and take action, because it could have been me who was shot instead. And if it was, I would like other teens to speak out and try to make sure it didn't happen to more people. Mass shootings are the ones that gain attention of the media, but killings happen every day on the streets and in our neighborhood. There's a funeral, a rest in peace speech for the victim to remember them, and then people move on. It is not often that we think that death could have been prevented. And even less often that we think, I am going to see what I can do to help reduce the number of murders that occur in my city. job for not only lawyers, politicians, or the radically minded student. This is a job for everyone to engage in. We are just as much responsible for our lack of action as we are for our actions. There are good things about America. There are great things about the United States, New York State in particular, but there are always things that we can improve on to make it a better place where more people feel safe to live in. We might have relatively strong state gun control laws, but we can always make sure that these laws can stay strong and go national and give others a greater sense of safety from gun violence. Right now, I'm saying thank you for listening, but I hope to thank you again for speaking out, voting, and writing letters to enable responsible gun control laws and practices in the future. Now I'm going to turn the mic over to Lieutenant Governor Kathy Hochul. Thank you.
Anna, that was spectacular, and I want to thank you not just for being part of the program today, but what you did back in March in mobilizing students to be part of a rally to make sure that this conversation was not just at the times of the funerals, as you said, but to keep it ongoing. So we're looking forward to great things to come from you, but thank you on behalf of all the teenagers across this nation who are finally making parents and adults and elected officials embarrassed by their lack of inaction, and you've been a leader of that charge, so thank you, Anna. Thank you once again. To our great mayor, who I've been in many events with, I know he approaches this as an elected official, but also as the father of 2 daughters. And there's nothing more important in the DNA of a parent than to protect our own children. So thank you for your advocacy on this program and joining us today. The superintendent, Jaime Alicea, we thank you for your leadership here. Our principal, David Maynard, is here. Thank you, principal. Our council president, Helen Hudson. She is one of the premier Nottingham High School graduates. Proud of this. And not only is she a cheerleader for your high school today, she was a cheerleader just a couple years ago when she was a student here as well. So, and a track star and a basketball star to boot. And our Common Council members who are here, our county legislators, but also Tanya and the Moms Who Demand Action. I mean, what a powerful force to harness the energy of the mothers who more often than not are the ones who pack their kids' lunches up in the morning and send them down the street or on a school bus every day. So moms, my hat off to you for being so engaged in protecting our children. We also have Clifford Ryan, OGs Against Gun Violence. And this is a reminder that we're not simply talking about gun violence within the confines of a school. Gun violence is rampant in our streets, in our neighborhoods every single day, and we will not forget that, and our efforts are going to be redoubled to protect every human life. And Megan Ruth representing the teachers here, teachers who deserve to come to school every day and also, like the students, go home at the end of the day. There are so many victims of violence among our teachers when you think about the litany of the schools that have been impacted by this. So thank you for fighting for our teachers and the Mothers Against Gun Violence, Rita and Lipa and others as well. So I'm here on behalf of Governor Cuomo. We've been taking a bus ride all around the state to send a message that while you are so anxious about the final days of school and to launch into your homes and communities for your summer vacation, there's another group of individuals up the road in our state legislature who are anxious to start their summer vacation as well. Those are our state legislators. We literally have 2.5 days to capture their attention with this effort, this rally, these rallies all across the state, and say, before you go home, you have one more job to do, and that is to make sure that Governor Cuomo's plan to protect students in our schools is enacted into law. Can you send a message to our legislators so they can hear you from here? Can they hear your voices? Come on, guys. Let's make them vote. I feel the winds, not just today, but I feel the winds of change are upon us. This has been a long, long journey. And you think about the fact that we are in the 24th week of this year of 2018. Thus far, there have been school shootings in 23 instances, 23 times, almost one a week. This is almost becoming something that people are expecting. And in fact, I'll never forget the interview of a young woman after the school shooting in her school at Santa Fe. They said, were you surprised, were you shocked by this? And she said, no, it was just a matter of time. And my 13-year-old niece says they spend time in school getting ready for the shooter. Students, this is not normal. You should not have to live under this specter of wondering what each day is going to bring. I didn't have to deal with that. We didn't worry about that. This is a relatively new phenomenon, and we have to get our arms around this and end it now. And there's many ways to approach this, many ways. One was the results of the devastation, the slaughter of children at Sandy Hook over 5 years ago. And you need to be so proud that your home state of New York stepped up under Governor Andrew Cuomo and put forth the most aggressive gun safety bill in the nation. And we banned assault weapons so someone could not have possession of something that could gun down students literally by the dozens. We banned the number of guns, or the number of bullets in a magazine limited to 10. We also said a lot of these people have shown signs of mental health problems. We put together a database so professionals who are treating someone could let the authorities know, let the state know that this is someone who could pose danger to themselves or to others if they have possession of a gun. You know how many people are on that database today? 77,000. 77,000 who the day before the SAFE Act was enacted would have had access to a gun. That's what we're talking about today. Being smart, being proactive, harnessing this energy and saying, what more can we do to prevent the next Columbine, the next Sandy Hook, the next Parkland, the next Santa Fe? I don't want to have Nottingham on that list of names. I don't want anyone here harmed by a shooter who we perhaps had indication, had signs, was someone who could do harm. Because I trust the teachers. I come out of a family with a lot of teachers. And I trust them, and many times they're spending more hours a day with our students than the parents are. They are the ones who are on the front lines. They and the administrators and their coaches and the people who come in contact with them every day. They're the ones who see the signs that something's not right. And in 42% of the cases where there have been gun shootings, the teachers and others in the schools say, we saw that one coming. We saw that this child had problems, had shown signs of instability or violence or threats against other students. Those signs are out there. And up until now, no one has had the power to do anything about it. We're just talking about common sense legislation, the red flag bill, which says when that red flag goes up, we actually have the power to do something about it and prevent the violence. We're simply saying that when a teacher, an administrator, someone in a school sees the signs, they can petition a judge and say, this young person needs to be evaluated. And if there's guns available to this young person, we need to remove access to the guns. Because think about all the lives that could have been saved if we had had this in place in other states around the nation. Now, I'm not holding my breath on the rest of the country because they don't always follow what we consider to be good common sense laws, but we're doing it here in New York. And so often when we do it here in New York, we are a model for the rest of the nation. They look to us. And to all those who 5 years ago said, the SAFE Act, if you put that in place, you're basically going to be tearing up the Second Amendment and all the guns in the state will be confiscated, and fear-mongering on behalf of the NRA, I'm here to tell you, there's still plenty of guns in the hands of lawful gun owners. No one shut down deer season last fall, last I checked. People are still able to engage in the sport or what they want to do legally. So once again, that mass hysteria that was created years ago is continuing to this day over this simple common sense legislation. But this time we're ready. We're prepared. And this time, look who I've got on my side. I've got all of them. I've got all of you on my side to do what's right. And they have parents. And before long, they will be voting. But let me take an intermission right here. I want a pledge from every one of you. Every one of you. If you believe that your government should be responsive to you and protect you, raise your hand and tell me that you'll register to vote and you will never, ever miss an election for the rest of your lives. Put your hands up. Put your hands up. There we go. There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the power I'm talking about. That's the power we are harnessing, not just here at Nottingham, not just in Syracuse, not just in Onondaga County, but across the state of New York and indeed our nation. That is the power we have now to make sure that politicians who are in the hip pocket of the NRA realize that you're going to stand with the NRA instead of your students and your parents and your teachers. You are on the wrong side of history because we're changing laws and we're saving lives. That's what today is all about. All right. So I want to thank you. I want to thank you for making sure that an era we've talked about so many rights. The state of New York was the birthplace of the women's rights movement. Civil rights, the Underground Railroad came through our state. We've talked about civil rights. The LGBTQ community rights started here in the state of New York. The Environmental Rights Initiative started in our state. We're here to declare that student rights are starting right here now. And that is the right of a student to get on a bus or to come to school in the morning and be able to go home at the end of the day. It's that simple. Those are the rights that we're protecting here. And the rights of our parents to never, ever have to be in the position of picking out their child's coffin when they should be picking out a prom dress or picking out their colleges. That's how serious this is. We're going to end it here. We're going to end it because of all of you. And I'm grateful to all the advocates and the elected officials and the administrators and the teachers, but most of all to you students, because I feel so good about the future. What I have seen, the energy that has been created since the slaughter in Florida just a few months ago is unstoppable. This is the cause of your lifetime. And I know we will continue to lead, but when we're done leading, you will all pick up the cause of protecting students as well as people in our neighborhoods from the slaughter of gun violence. It's not just these buildings. It is the streets of Syracuse as well. And we're going to fight to protect those lives because they have just as much value. So thank you, everybody. Thank you very much for being here.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us here at Nottingham High School this morning. Beautiful day, a lot of heat, and this is what we need to do. Put a lot of heat in Albany so we can change the legislation to make sure that our schools, our neighborhoods are safe, because there's no boundaries for gun violence. There's no boundaries in zip codes where someone can get hurt. And I would like to commend Lieutenant Governor, the governor, for taking the lead with this project. We need to be vocal about the safety of our students, the safety of our staff, and this is something that we take very serious here in the Syracuse City School District and in Syracuse, New York, with our elected officials, with our parents, and we need to continue to be vocal about the safety of our kids. As the superintendent of the school district, I want to make sure that when you send your kid to school in the morning, that they return home at the end of the day safe and with more knowledge than when they came in the morning. We need to work together. We need to continue to empower the kids that we have behind us, because the movement has begun with the children, with the students. For years and years, we have had gun violence in our community, and a lot of people have not listened. Yep. Now we have the youth. Now they're vocal. Rob, are you vocal? How vocal is Nottingham? So we have great kids that we need to continue to protect, because the future, our future, is in their hands. So again, I want to thank the governor. I want to thank the lieutenant governor for their leadership, their commitment, and we're looking forward for this bill to pass for the safety of all our students and staff, not only in Syracuse, not only at Nottingham, but throughout New York State. we cannot lose one more life. Thank you.
All right.